Hi, welcome to AMI Day 19. Today we're going to start down the road to Brown versus Board of Education. So today we're going to be thinking about how groups and individuals in a society, especially in a democracy, can work together to correct injustices. So in the late 1800s and early 1900s, Americans formed a number of organizations to express their outrage at segregation and attack the laws that supported it. And among those is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. Its founders include both Black and white Americans. And in 1935, that group decided to systematically challenge segregation in the nation's courts. Professor Charles Houston of Howard University Law School led a special legal team with the help of Thurgood Marshall, a former student of Houston's. After Houston retired, Marshall took charge of the team. The aim was to attack segregation by challenging the idea central to Plessy versus Ferguson, the idea that separate facilities are truly equal. The team's first cases dealt with segregation in higher education. Few states could afford to provide separate but equal legal, medical, and other professional training for Black and white students. Slowly, the legal team assembled by Houston and Marshall made progress. In 1949, the Supreme Court ruled that a Texas law school set up only for African American students was not equal to the state's all white law school, in a case called Sweat versus Painter. In a 1950 decision, McLaurin versus Oklahoma, the justices concluded that an African American student who was allowed to enroll at the University of Oklahoma's law school was not receiving an education equal to that of white students as long as he was kept apart from his classmates in the classroom, cafeteria, and library. The court ruled that such restrictions impair and inhibit his ability to study, engage in discussions, and exchange views with other students, and, in general, to learn his profession. Little by little, ruling by ruling, the NAACP was tearing down the legal wall that separated Americans. After chipping away at segregation in higher education, NAACP lawyers turned their attention to segregation in the nation's public schools. This time they would argue that even if separate facilities were equal, they would still violate the 14th Amendment. The lawyers filed lawsuits in 4 states and the District of Columbia. Each challenged the constitutionality of separating children by race. In late 1952, the justices decided that the cases were so similar that they should be heard together. So they combined them into a single case that came to be known as Brown et al., that means and others, and all, versus Board of Education of Topeka and others et al. The Supreme Court's decision came in May 1954. It declared that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. When the Supreme Court issued its decision in the Brown case, the justices did not provide guidelines for complying with the decision. They waited until May 31st, 1955, to rule that federal courts were to decide whether a school district was acting in good faith by desegregating its schools with all deliberate speed. So for today's activities, you're going to look at a summary of the Brown decision and think about what next steps you think maybe they should have taken or might have taken. And then I want you to maybe make some decisions about how you think Brown maybe influenced people's lives and how they were living. And we're also going to watch a short little video clip about dolls and how dolls might have played a role in deciding the Brown case. That's kind of an interesting story. So I hope this is a good day for you. I'll see you next time.